So, as I had been discussing earlier, God of War. There's been a rumor for a while going around that the God of War Saga collection, which was originally released for PS3, had 5 games, included. I think it was just five. Yeah, because it was God of War 1, 2, 3, and then the two PSP games, so Chains of Olympus and Ghosts of Sparta. Um, Previously released on PS3. I have the collection myself. Uh, Supposedly, there's going to be a PS5 remaster of that collection. And, of course, right now, this is completely confirmed, but the idea is that this collection would include all of the uh, all of the Greek mythology God of War games. So that includes God of War 1, 2, 3, Ghosts of Sparta, Chains of Olympus, and Ascension. So it would be including all six of the different God of War games from that saga. So, what are your thoughts on this?
It definitely seems likely, as you said, it happens. The announcement would happen during the 20th anniversary, which would be a perfect and opportune time to do something like this. In addition, Sony has been remastering and remaking games as of late anyway, so that's another reason as to why this is likely. Um, all in all, I mean, I think it's definitely a possibility. I think it's something that we could hear um, for the 20th anniversary, or something maybe even we could hear something maybe slightly beforehand, and then actually just happens to be released on the 20th anniversary. That's also something that could happen as well. But I do see this as it being possible. I mean, we've even before talked about here and there talking about rumors, and I think possibly it was a remake of the first God of War at one point. But if having a remaster is the easiest thing for Sony to do, I see that it's definitely possible, especially since they've got Nixus also working with them as well. Now, even though it wasn't mentioned in the article about a PC version coming, at least I'm very certain I did not see PC on here. I feel like this is something that could possibly also see a PC port, um, especially since, as far as with remasters go, Sony is has been doing stuff day and date, like with Until Dawn. I feel like this is something that could also be a day and date if it's coming out, especially since this is something that I feel a lot of PC gamers would like, especially for those who played the games originally. As far as the Greek God of War goes, people who might not necessarily care for the gameplay of the new ones, but maybe like once they go back to the hack and slash, sort of like juggling as well, what you could do with the original games. So I feel like that's another reason as to why that could get ported all over to PC as well. But we'll see. Time will definitely tell, but just as of now, I think it's definitely a possibility that it's coming.
All right, so to give my basic thoughts on this collection, essentially, I am for it. I think it's a really good idea for them to bring it out, especially with the 20th anniversary coming up. It just seems like the timing is perfect, and this is one collection that people actually want. I will say, I think it's very, very likely that this is going to be day and date as a PC release, just because that's what they've been doing lately with the remasters. Um, of course, personally, I would be quite content with them choosing to censor this, more so just because of my personal convictions regarding the nudity and everything else. But at the same time, I also think it'd be kind of nice if they had the option to toggle it on or off for the people that prefer that. Prefer to have it off versus on, because I understand, some people they're completely against the censorship, and like I understand that from the perspective of not liking the idea of forcing people to do it the way that they want it. And the reality is that these games exist separately in the uncensored fashion. Personally, I just want to completely avoid that. So I'm fine with them doing it either way, though I do think it would be nice for the people who want it kept in its original form to have the option to keep it that way. So that's essentially the way I feel about it. This is part of the reason, though, that I have held off on deciding whether or not I'm actually going to play through the older versions of the games, because I can play the majority of the games with the exception of God of War 3 and Ascension, which I'm not even sure if I'm going to play Ascension, on my Steam Deck. God of War 3 I know should emulate just fine on my PC, and I mean, realistically, worst case scenario, I can play all but Ascension on my PS3. So, because I have the PS3 versions of these games, I mean, it's completely doable for me to play that way. So it's just kind of like back and forth on it. But overall, I definitely think that this is a good thing that they're doing it. It's just a question of whether or not I would purchase it myself. But I think it would be cool if they did it for the people who really want it. And just because it would be nice to have a native PC versions of these games. My hope is that they would basically just leave the game as is. And if anything, they would, like I said, if they're going to do censorship, make it an optional thing for people who don't want it to be censored, whereas I personally prefer it to be censored. So that's a summary of how I feel about it.
That's all I got.
Same here.